It's a diamond anniversary year for the Telecaster and P-Bass. Let's see what they've cooked up. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. For me, the most exciting thing about this new release is what they called the pickups, as they're calling these things the Thunderbolt, but whoa. This finish is a little bit insane. We'll get that darn silica packet out of the way to fully appreciate this thing. When I first heard that this new model was going to be called Diamond Dust Sparkle, I just thought, okay, yeah, anniversary year, they're gonna do the whole diamond thing, but there's almost a slight blue pearlescence to this at the same time, with all of your more silver flakes within the finish. This is a lot more visually impressive than I was expecting. That's a lot of fun. Super shimmery. Think disco ball and you're pretty much there, but then they complement it with a moto pickguard just to add even more fun to it. And this isn't even the only anniversary edition that they're releasing this year. So if you're not familiar, the Telecaster, it was first introduced in the year 1951. Now, it wasn't called a Telecaster at first, started with Broadcaster, became a No-caster, then it eventually became a Telecaster, but the Telecaster body shape is what we're talking about. And the main production ones first came out in early 51, but I didn't realize the P-Bass also came out in 51, although later in the year. So to celebrate that, here is the lineup. 4 Telecasters, 3 basses. We've got a high-end American Ultra 2. It's got this really crazy finish. They're aptly naming that one Liquid Gold. Although I'm sure that finish might divide the community, but it's unique. Reminds me of the Oscar Tele with how many different colors it's got going on. I mean, these things are launching on St. Patrick's Day 2026, so it makes sense that you got a little bit of gold and green and other crazy stuff in between. But I like the unique inlays of that one as well. It just makes it a bit more special. But if you want a more traditionally spec'd Telecaster, you can look at the American Professional 2. It reminds me of a Tough Dog Tele, just in a slightly more affordable manner. But speaking of affordable, the one we're reviewing tonight is part of the Made in Mexico Player 2 series. It'll catch your attention in a store, that's for sure. And if you don't want that much attention, you can go for the Road Worn, offered in that classic butterscotch blonde finish. Just in, apparently there's going to be a Cabernita Tele as well within the American Professional Classic series. In a stunning candy apple red. Hopefully somebody new Guitar Day is one of those. I love the Cab Teles. And then within the P-Bass lineup, you've got these 3. It looks like a partner to the Flametop Tele, just in bass format. And then you've got the American Vintage 251 style. It's kind of like a Telecaster being blended in with that. And then if you're a bass player and you love the finish we're documenting tonight, there's also a Player 2 version of that. And I would imagine all of these are getting a special neck plate if it's anything like this one that reads Fender 75th Anniversary Telecaster. Not only on the neck plate, but also up here on the neck. It just reads Fender 75th. That way they can universalize that between the two models would be my guess. First impressions, feels like a Telecaster, nice and chunky. We already talked about how I feel about the pickup name and the finish choices in general, but I was not actually expecting a Gigbag to come with this, so that was a nice little surprise. I'd say it's got about ½ an inch of padding on each side, so it'll do the job. But check this out, usually the Gigbag equipped guitars don't get the little Fender zipper pouch, because normally that's what holds a COA, and would you look at that? A Mexican Fender with a COA. I'm not sure if that's new or what. Hopefully you can fill me in the description, but that's nice that this comes with it. They don't have to do that. It just makes it a bit more fun. Then we have our usual hang tags that just come on the guitar from the box. This is not a strap for your guitar. It's for the Gigbag. If you want the shoulder straps on the back, they just clip on there. And it looks like we've got some setup and truss rod tools in here. Fender Studio QR thing. I don't think I've heard of that before. Might have to check it out. But to learn more about this one, let's go ahead and throw it on over to the Workbench. But if you're wondering why can I review this on launch day, it's thanks to our sponsor tonight, Guitar Center. They sent out this review sample for me to document to help you guys make an informed decision. Guitar Center is always having some sort of a great sale, but here's the current one that you can check out utilizing my affiliate links in the description. All you gotta do is click on them and they'll take care of the rest. And even if you're not in the market for a brand new guitar, those are active on anything you purchase on their site, from strings down to a new PA setup. Thank you, Guitar Center, for being a long-term sponsor of my show. And now let's see what makes this new Tele tick. The Workbench is a perfect place to capture the duality of this finish. So as you view it from this angle, the whole thing just turns gold. It's fun, but let's go ahead and check out these Thunderbolt pickups. As at first glance, the neck pickup doesn't look that different, but I instantly noticed the bridge pickup. Is it just me and I haven't seen a Tele in a while, or do those pole pieces look larger than usual? I didn't see anything too pertinent on the back side that makes them different. Same thing is true for our bridge pickup, but I'm really fascinated to hear how these might sound. But I get readings of 11.22k ohms in the bridge position. The neck is pretty hot too, 8.07, and they play together at 4.78. But if you eventually get bored and want to try something new, check out your modifying option. You could put a humbucker in the neck position if you really wanted to. You've got the route for it, as well as our little barcode sticker, and we can indeed see down through to the alder body just a little bit right there, before they then paint it over with this shielding paint. But only your typical Tele bridge pickups down here as far as our route is concerned, but that bridge gets secured utilizing 4 screws, and it is a string through Tele, with no option to be a top loader. And it utilizes the steel saddles that are rectangular in shape, which gives you adjustment for each and every string versus the vintage style, which is 2 per string. Here's an up close look at one of those. You can see where the string rests and it goes through it. And then these 2 set screws help set the height of the string. So that means you can customize that for every string. And then for intonation, that's what those bottom screws are. They utilize a spring and that helps set where they need to go. And hey, now that I've zoomed out a little bit, I can see another area where the alder body is exposed in their little pinhole router mark. But even our pearloid pickguard has a slight aged tint to it, which makes it a bit goldy. But that is a 4-ply pickguard. Starts with a pearloid, but then goes black and white. But now moving on to our electronics, nothing crazy going on here, just your regular master volume, master tone with a 3-way selector switch. They appear to be 250k CTS audio taper pots with a tiny little ceramic disc capacitor and a pretty nice quality switch. And the route really doesn't reveal too much outside of more shielding paint was used, which is a good thing. One game I always play on Fender guitars is how many screws were over tightened. This one was pretty good. They were all good on there. That's good. This is the only over tightened screw. It just keeps turning and turning, but it secures it well enough. I don't think it's gonna cause a problem. But I was also looking at this finish thinking, man, if that was nitro, you would probably have so many dips in this thing, but it's a poly finish, so you don't have much of that anywhere. However, there are some dips up here. If you catch it in the light just right, I'm not sure if they would categorize that as a defect or not. I'll let you make your own decision on that, but it does kind of catch your eye occasionally. I would imagine that's not how it's intended to be, but to be completely honest, it's such a crazy finish, you really don't notice it much, unless it's on your workbench and you're looking at it like this. Moving on from our body, we've got a maple neck with a rosewood fretboard. I did go ahead and condition this, so if it looks darker and much nicer to play, that's why. If you want your guitar to look like that too, you just grab yourself some of this Dunlop 65 lemon oil. It's not actually lemon oil, it's just lemon scented. Don't really use lemon oil on your guitar if you happen to have it in your house. That's bad for fretboards. And feel free to go down the rabbit hole and experiment with other conditioning oils, but it'll make your new guitar that much better. Our bone nut measures 1.66 inches, and that increases to 2.05 at the 12. We've got a first fret neck depth of about 0.84, and it stays really consistent, 0.86 at the 12. It's advertised as a modern C neck profile shape. If you're not familiar with Fenders, what that means to me is it's a fairly skinny neck, but it's got a nice C-shaped roundedness. There's not a whole lot of shoulder to the neck. It just fills the back of your hand without being too big. Here's a look at that neck profile at the first fret and the 12th fret. You can really see what I'm talking about, not having much shoulder towards the front. And you still don't buy the 12th, but it widens up just a tad due to the nature of the neck. As far as the shine of the frets out of the box, it wasn't too bad, but as in typical Fender Mexico fashion, they don't quite get all the buffing compound off of the frets. So if your fingers are turning black, that's what you need to do. Go through and wipe those down, but eventually that will stop happening. But that's the trade-off of having shiny frets out of the box. As far as our fretboard's concerned, it's a 25.5-inch scale and boasts a 9.5-inch fretboard radius. But now we can check out our headstock. So everything's gloss as far as the body is concerned and the headstock face. When we get to the back of the neck, you'll note that they utilized a satin finish, but they left that really high-end look for our headstock while giving us that slightly better playability finish on the back. And they're utilizing the classic gear style tuner, so still poke it down, wrap it around, but it's got the modern mounting system to it as far as the nut and washer system is concerned. And we've got our black plastic capping off our truss rod route, and if you notice, we've got a single string tree on the face of our headstock. Another good thing to check on brand new Fenders, especially if it's shipped to you, make sure the neck has not shifted while in transit. Get yourself a nice aerial view. You can utilize a ruler if it helps you, but just make sure that like the high E's not hanging off the fretboard over here, and that you don't like have almost no space here but way too much over there. If you do notice something's wrong, you can take it to a professional to do it, but usually you just have to slightly tug on your neck. But this one must have a pretty nice tight pocket, and thankfully seems to have survived the trip to me okay, because sometimes you'll get like some finish cracks along the neck right there into the body. Usually those are only finished deep, but not always. But again, if you're uncomfortable, take it back to your dealer. They can set you up. That's the nice thing about buying from Guitar Center. Everybody typically has a Guitar Center at least an hour or so away from them, so you don't have to ship. By looking at the back now, not too much to cover. We just got our barrel style output jack. We've got a strap button right here with the complementing one up top. Here's another look at our Fender 75th anniversary badge. It has those 1951 to 2026 dates to it. They even come with a protective film over top of them in case you don't want to get that all fingerprinted up. I suppose I did want to check this finish for any more of those dimples, and yes indeed, I do see a couple down here in this area, a few more over here. Now, do I think that's enough to go, oh, I hate this model or whatnot? No, but that's why I review new guitars, just to let you know what to expect. Because now seeing that that's not isolated only to that one area up there, I would imagine most of them might have that somewhere, and it's probably just from the bunching up of all this metal flake in here. I'm honestly surprised there's not more, because this isn't your usual light glitter. I mean, it's getting towards borderline excessive. You've gotta love sparkly finishes to go after this, and thankfully there's a lot of guys and gals out there that do. But here's a look at our satin finish neck. They throw the skunk stripe on there just for fun. We even have a little bit of flame dancing in this particular one right there. And here we can see our Maiden Ensenada MX26 serial number standing for 2026 and the backside of our classic gear tuners. So our main takeaways from the Workbench segment. It's technically routed for a humbucker if you wanted to upgrade it. Occasionally you might find a dimple in the finish. Otherwise it's just your regular player Tele 2 with a very nice unique finish. And this one weighs 7 pounds 11 ounces. Let's go ahead and hear how these thunderbolts sound. It's nice and spanky in the bridge. Our neck. I'd say that's better than your average Tele pickup. I do like that. How do they blend? Try our tone controls real quick. Lots of options there. Do the bridge just for fun. Now let's try some dirt. Sounds more like an angry Stratocaster. That's great for a Tele. And it still has that raunchiness of a Tele bridge, but maybe just a little bit more round is how I would describe that. Yeah, I like those new pickups. It's like a perfect blending between a Stratocaster and a Telecaster. But let's see, how do those roll down? Because maybe you don't want this all the time. Let's just say, if you were thinking about one of these, I think you're going to have a great time. For me, the finish is unique. Maybe not my favorite, but if you like silver sparkly things, or if you love the movie Trolls, that's what this is reminding me of, the whole auto-tune troll guy. But it's all about these 75th anniversary Thunderbolts. They've put some magic stuff in there. I really like this set. It might not be traditional Tele, but it can be tamed down to that, as well as just being more than just your average Telecaster. So just from the guitar alone, I would suggest it for those pickups if you want to give those things a try. But if nothing else, I hope this video helped you make an informed decision whether one of these is right for you or not. As far as the setup out of the box, I think the action could be maybe a tad bit lower, but that's personal preference. The only thing I noted is it sounds like the G and B string might need a little bit more filing at the nut to ring a bit more clearly. They just sound slightly choked and sitar-like. So that's either the nut or the saddle, and Based on how this is constructed, I'm pretty sure it's the nut, but since that is made out of real bone, it should be easy to get set up. Thank you again, Guitar Center, for sponsoring tonight's episode. If you're in the market for one of these now, they will certainly help hook you up. You just utilize my affiliate links in the description. All right, we'll catch you guys tomorrow on the next one. Take care, and happy St. Patrick's Day.